It's a truth as old as time. And since waging war is so costly in blood and treasure, we owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose or any war that is thrust upon us. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O.
All right, shalom to the elect of Israel. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. And what I said was all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, who is a heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly calls God, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, who is the Messiah, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, in the name of the Holy Spirit, which in Hebrew is Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect of Israel. As you see, this was put up by the brother GMS Watchman, right, of Pete Hegseth, right, saying, you know, the title is Pete Hegseth just announced they're preparing for a new era of war against all enemies. It's on. And as you saw in the video, that's how he's talking, okay? That's how he's talking. You know, I'm going to play the last part again.
War Department. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O.
You see? He said the enemies, he's talking about to the enemies of America, that they're going to be crushed by violence, you know? And it's the thing, this devil, you know, he started, in this clip the brother put up, this devil started off saying that, you know, they got to be ready for war because they want peace. Nah, man. Peace is not coming to Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. Peace is not coming here. Okay? You know, the Lord does not purpose peace for this place. All right? Bear me 1 second. All right? Let me, this, and the thing is, this devil is not about peace. Okay, but first, actually, let me get this real quick. Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, do all these things. So the Lord is controlling all of these things that's going on. The Lord is, you know, making them get ready for war. Okay? And once again, this devil is not about peace, man. All right? That's just, you know, how this devil talks, you know, lying. Psalms chapter 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. See? And, you know, they changed the what used to be the Department of Defense. They changed it. They renamed it to the Department of War. Okay? You know, and that's all this devil, man, has been about. You know, his blessing is the sword, as we know. Okay? Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, Esau, Genesis 25:25. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Okay? A great sword, man. You know? Once again, Esau's blessing is the sword. Okay? But, you know, and what do they rule? They rule America. Okay? You know, Esau's main kingdom is America. You know? And guess what the scriptures say about America? This is the book of Revelation. Because he said the Department of War is basically, let me just look it up online. What is the Department of War? it says the United States Department of War, also called the War Department, was the United States Cabinet Department responsible for the operation and maintenance of the United States Army. Okay. You know. So basically, well, here we go right here. www.war.gov. You know. Let's just see where's the writing at. Look, military units, Air Force. You know. Let's see what it says down here. About. It says the Department of War is, and this is a government from a government website. The Department of War is America's largest government agency, with our military tracing its roots back to pre-revolutionary times. The department has grown and evolved with our nation. Our mission is to provide the military forces needed to deter war and ensure our nation's security. So the Department of War is talking about the military, okay? And what are the scriptures? And this is what it says: Armed Forces, the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard are the armed forces of the United States. The Army National Guard and the Air National Guard are reserve components of their services and operate in part under state authority. All these are a part of the Department of War. Okay, when I get to why they got a Space Force in a minute. Okay, so let me just see actually. But let me go ahead and get this. So, because and this is that American military pride. This is Revelation chapter 18, starting in verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and Babylon the Great, as you should know, is America, right? And it's fallen, meaning it is destroyed. And has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Because after America is destroyed, there's going to be nothing but desert animals living here. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Right? All these countries, various countries and nations around the world have taken on American ways and philosophies. That's why you see democracy in other countries, their leaders wearing suit and ties. They're, for example, you have those Arab women, all right, taking their hijabs off, being whores and all of that stuff, right? All these other nations have taken on American ways and philosophies and customs, right? And no wonder there's a McDonald's in other countries around the world. It says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. All these dealings, deals that they make with America. The president might go to another country and make a deal, or a country of another, or the president or prime minister of another country might come to America to make a deal. All these nations, all right, have made deals with America. It says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. These countries get rich off of selling and trade into America. Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And what this is talking about is when Yahushua returns and delivers the elect out of America by way of what's called UFOs. What's ignorantly called UFOs, because really they're the chariots of the Lord. Because one of those, it says that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And one of the plagues that the Lord has destined to come to America is nuclear fire. Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. See? So that's the plague. A nuclear missiles was going to do that. And it referenced to it as a plague. Okay? That's going to be, the plague that officially ends America, aka Babylon the Great. All right. But the Lord is going to, it says, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, and verse 20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation, the nuclear fire, be overpassed. So the Lord is going to, when he returns with what the world ignorantly calls UFOs, which are the chariots of the Lord, he's going to deliver the elect, all right, from all over the world into the chariot, but mainly out of North America. This is the book of Micah, chapter 4, and verse 10. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. America, listen, there shalt thou be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. You see? So when Yahushua comes back, he's going to deliver his elect from all over the world. Is the elect of Israel, not all Israel, but the elect of Israel from all over the world, but mainly out of North America. America is going to be the main place where that great deliverance takes place. Okay? And while it's taking place, America is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire, as we're about to read. Verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. All the wickedness America has done, the Lord remembers all of it. Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. Verse 7, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. In America, you live deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. And that torment and sorrow is coming on the day of the Lord, nuclear fire. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And that's the pride of America. You know, that no widow, you know, because America has the many husbands, you know, those many lovers. You know, America's that whore that has, you know, many lovers. All the nations of the earth dealing with it. It says, and shall see no sorrow. That's the pride, okay, of America. You know, these Americans think nothing's going to happen. You know, they have that pride that they have the best military. And as you saw him say in the video, I'm going to play it again. What did he say to his enemies?
Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O.
See? That's that, you know, American pride in the military and the army. You see? So this plays out perfectly. You can see this is America, Babylon the Great. Verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, which is the day of the Lord, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, who judgeth her. America is going to be burned by nuclear fire, right? And America's allies are going to turn against it, as it tells you over here in Revelation, the 17th chapter, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, which the 10 horns is talking about the European Union, right? Which started out, all right, with we really, 10 nations, The UK and Ireland are one, Spain and Portugal is one. So really 10 nations, okay? They're the 10 horns, the EU. It says, which thou saw, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And the whore is America, Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment, the punishment, the destruction of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. What are the waters? Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. See? Peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues. Why? Because America is what's called a great melting pot. All right? So America is the whore. Verse 16 again, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate. So America's going to do something to make these European Union countries and nations hate it. All right? And do what else? And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. You keep seeing fire being mentioned because America, Babylon the Great, is going to be burned by nuclear fire. That is the judgment. That is the final judgment that the Lord has set on this place. That is the official judgment the Lord has set on this place, man. Okay? It's over for this place, you know? And America's allies are going to turn against it. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy. Confederacy means, alliance, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread meaning gotten aid from America, have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. Okay? They're going to turn on America. All right? This place is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire in due time. But we're in a season of war now. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. See? So a time of war, right? They named it the Department of War. That is the time of war now. Okay, we're in that season. All right. And as Israelites, you should be happy that this is all going on. All right, you should be happy that this is all going on. You know why? Because we know once America, goes down, right? Once the Lord destroys this place by having all these different nations and countries shoot nuclear missiles on it, Yahweh Shai is going to come back. Let me say it again. When the Lord has these nations shoot nuclear missiles on it, Yahweh Shai is going to come back and deliver the elect of Israel. See? And from then forward, the kingdom of heaven is going to be set up. So you really should be happy about all of this, because the Lord is about to deliver us out of Babylon the Great. And the Lord is about to deliver his elect, the elect of Israel, out of Babylon the Great and from all over the world. Okay? Let me just see something. It's over for this place, man. That's pretty much it. It's over for this place. Okay? You can see war stirring up. And that World War III is going to be the last war. Okay? And in the midst of that, America is going to be destroyed. Let me end it with this scripture. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 45. No, 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 43. But the day of doom, which is World War III, all right, on the day when America is destroyed, which is going to be the exact day when Yahweh Shai returns, shall be the end of this time. That day is going to be the end of this white man's rulership. It's going to be the end of Esau's rulership. Remember? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So that day of the America is destroyed by nuclear fire is going to officially mark the end of it, and the beginning of the immortality for it to come, wherein corruption is past, and temperance is at an end, and fidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. There you go. Okay? So it's going to be, it's over, It's going to be over real soon. See, so we just sit back and watch the Lord, work, Or we just, let me say, we not sit back, because we prophesied, man. As scriptures say. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. Okay? So the prophets of old prophesied against great kingdoms and countries and nations. And the prophets are back again via reincarnation doing the same thing against this very last great kingdom on the earth, America. Okay? So that's pretty much it. So once again, we're gonna be patient, okay, and wait for the Lord to, officially start bringing all this hell that's prophesied to come upon America, man. And Lord willing, we're gonna keep the faith to the very end. So with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chakodash, that belongs to the apostles and elders, to great millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.